I think CSR is immensely important, but I think one of the things that is happening is that people are sort of really thinking all of these languages are the same. So for example, they think corporate citizenship is the same as corporate social responsibility, is the same as shared value, is the same as sustainability, and they're not the same. And I think sustainability is basically about healthy systems, the healthy biosphere, healthy economies. It's only in part about individual companies or supply chains. Whereas if you're talking about CSR, corporate social responsibility, you're talking very often about an individual company. So I think as long as people can remember that and keep that in mind and think about system dynamics and not just what makes sense for our particular company at this point in time, that's good. And one of the problems I have with the shared value idea that Michael Porter and Mark Kramer have come up with, which I think is immensely helpful, is that it's all about win-win outcomes. How can a business win and society or a community win? And some of the things we're going to have to do aren't going to be about win-win outcomes. You think about the fossil fuel industry, the coal industry, we're going to have to destroy large parts of the coal industry. That's a win, catastrophic lose set of outcomes. How do you deal with that? That's a political process. So to some degree it's beyond individual companies. That takes you back up to that level of system dynamics and sustainability. And this is a field that is constantly changing, so that the agenda itself is constantly evolving, new issues are constantly coming in, new industries are being impacted, new countries are getting involved in one way or another. And so that's part of the driver, but also there's a sense of urgency. I think since I've been involved in this area, if you look at the environmental space, many species have been in really almost catastrophic decline. We've got to turn that around, we've got to reverse that. And so, that won't change in my lifetime, but that's part of what keeps me going, that sense of we've got to sort this out. The conversation stops for many reasons. I mean, one of them is that people just are too busy. They're in a highly competitive, globalized market. Competitors are breathing down their neck, regulators are breathing down their neck, their employees are never satisfied, their customers always changing their minds as to what they want, and suddenly you want to come and talk to them about human rights or bribery and corruption or climate change or whatever it is. Just go away. I mean, enough already. But so the part of the challenge is just presenting this in a way so that the business and the financial implications, the market implications are clearer to people. So denial is traditionally part of the problem. People just can't hear it because they don't want to hear it. Now they hear it, they increasingly understand it, but they don't know how to do it. And I think that's the next big barrier. We've got to help people actually implement. It's interesting, when I started in this field 35, 40 years ago, I was largely working on what were called environmental impact assessments. So you would look at the negative problems that companies created. Now you've got a much more positive take. So tell us about, or let's work out how you create value, how you create outcomes, how you create impact that are positive. And then the question is how you measure that. And one of the areas that makes me most optimistic at the moment is the field of what's called impact investment. So these are really quite substantial financial investors who are really trying to understand how you measure and how you put a value on social, environmental, ethical, governance outcomes. There's a revolution going on. It's slow, but it's building. I would say don't try and do it all at once. Understand the sort of breadth of the agenda, but pick your priority spaces. Be very sure that those issues you are picking are the material ones, the ones where you can make progress in a reasonable time scale. And then over time, build from those successes and then become more ambitious over time. But if you try and do it all at once, you run the risk of just stalling. Thank you immensely for the opportunity.